Welcome back to the Laughing and Crying podcast. It's been a ride. Right now, I just want to remind you guys that if you haven't rated the podcast and you've been listening, please go do that on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, wherever you can rate it, wherever you can review it. Please do that. It helps us. It helps us reach more people. It helps us be more visible. And I appreciate it. Coming up on the podcast, it's a great show. We have my favorite segment coming back, which is Let Me Tell You a Story. And also later, we'll be chatting about the 10 myths of singleness. So we did the 10 myths that will ruin your marriage last week. So this week, we're doing the 10 myths of being single. So I have a guest. Someone's in the building, and it's not Dre. I'm just saying, it's someone else. It's so exciting. My childhood friend, Jessica, is in the building. Jessica, say hello to the people.
Hi, everybody.
Yes. I'm so excited that you're in the building. Jessica is, how can I describe Jessica in one word?
Oh, God.
Hilarious would be one of the words I would choose. What other word? Let's see. Blunt. She is blunt. And she is also, I don't know. I love her though. Welcome to the podcast, Jessica. How are you?
I'm good. Just vibing.
I love it. What's the best thing about your day today?
I ate good. I had corn on the cob.
Grilled?
Yes, on the grill.
Okay.
I had some hot dogs. I had a couple of shrimp. I had some banana pudding.
Fried shrimp, grilled shrimp cocktail.
No, I just had a couple of grilled shrimp, hot dog, piece of chicken breast, banana pudding, and some ginger ale.
Okay, banana pudding. Okay, so I want to know, just out of curiosity, what is the best and worst thing about being an adult?
I would say the best thing about being an adult is not having to answer to anybody. I would say the worst thing about being an adult is like you really don't have room for excuses.
That's a good one.
Like,
I haven't
you're
heard that
supposed
one
to
yet.
know better. Well,
Yeah.
you're an adult. You're supposed to know. There's no excuse. You're grown. Like,
and sometimes you don't want to know better, right?
Like the accountability is like to infinity
and beyond. I understand.
Yeah, like so.
Okay,
it's
so
bittersweet.
It is. What is the funniest thing that your inner child wants?
Oh man, I've always wanted to ride a dolphin. They're like adorable. I love dolphins.
That is awesome. Can you
if
ride
I could
a dolphin?
swim, I want to ride one because I'm scared they might like tip over and I fall off and drown.
Why would you drown?
Because I can't swim.
Oh. I didn't know that.
I almost drowned last year at Disney World. I told you that.
God.
The lifeguard had to come out there and blow the whistle and everything. It wasn't my fault. I asked the man, Jason and I got on the ride. Some like it's like a tunnel where you go through like a stream. I asked the guy, I was like, well, we put on all our gear or whatnot to get in there. And Jason wanted to get on. I said, okay, Jace, because at first I was like, I don't know. We got on, and I had told the guy, I was like, look, I cannot swim. Like, how high does this get? Oh, you'll be fine. This man did not tell me that. We got lifeguards on, here, which I see that, but that's not the point. Like, dude, I cannot swim. I told you I cannot swim. He did not tell me from my knowledge that, how the water goes up different levels. You got 3 feet, 4 feet, and so forth. Yeah. I'm only like 5 something feet. Why am I seeing a sign that says 6 feet? So I'm scared. I'm panicking. I cannot swim. I was like, never again. I'm not doing this again. So
that is freaking hilarious.
2 lifeguards jumped in. She's like, Jessica, your baby. So I'm just like all over the place. Like, I was like, no. Anything past 4 feet, not doing it. So yeah.
Well,
yep.
I do want to take a second to say that is hilarious, to say the least. About I'm still laughing about the drowning, even though it wasn't a drowning. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be laughing about this. Okay.
I felt like I was going to, because I kept grasping for air. That is a potential drown.
Okay. Now that we've gotten to know you a little bit better, and also gotten to know the fact that Jessica, by all intents and purposes, cannot swim. So we don't need to invite her to the pool party. You know what I mean? We just don't need to. Let's see. Okay, Jessica. Now that we've gotten to know you a little bit more, I want to go into the segment that I love, which is called Let Me Tell You a Story. So, Let Me Tell You a Story is a segment where normally I tell a story, whether it be about past dating history, some sort of relationship, just something super funny that happened to me, something super funny in hindsight being 2020 that happened to me, you know, that maybe wasn't funny at the time. So I want to invite you into this segment to tell us a story. And I know that you had a lot of experiences with dating and friendship and just mishaps of life. So yeah, take it away. What are you going to tell us a story about? Just not the pool story again, you know.
Well, dang. Okay. Trying to see which one I want to do.
Just no names to protect the innocent, please.
I know. I'm not gonna say names. I'm trying to see which one do I want to pick, because it's funny now, but it wasn't funny at the time of it happening. I'll do the overweight guy. Me trying to be not judgmental. I'm always getting thrown the judgmental card.
Okay.
It never fails.
Okay.
I met the guy. I was actually out to eat when I met him.
Okay.
And he left his number. And he was like, he was a big dude and he was short. So his weight couldn't really go anywhere because he was a short dude. So I got to know him. We went and played pool. And he was like, my leg is messed up. Can you pick me up? I said, no, you can meet me. So I guess he had lymphedema. I don't know what he had, but I know like his legs were like wrapped up.
Oh gosh.
So like we were like, I don't know how to play pool. So like we ate, we played pool. He kept like having to sit down, which I can only imagine because like your legs hurt. So you're having to sit down a lot to play pool. So like we'd be on the phone sometimes and like I noticed like he would have difficulty breathing. And I was just like, I didn't want to be rude. I'm thinking in my head like, does he have like sleep apnea? Sometimes he could hardly breathe. And then like as I got to know him more, he kept like buying me things. Then he was trying to like, he brought me around his family. I was like, dude, you kind of need to like slow down. Like,
right.
I'm still trying to get to know you. Like paying for my food, okay, cool. I like to eat. I let that go. Then he bought me edible arrangements. Then he bought me flowers. Like me not knowing any better, I was like, oh, this is really cute.
Right.
And as time because I never had that. Like,
right. Okay.
Oh man, all right, he really likes me. But like as time went on, I was just like, I don't know, like you're very sick. Like we went to Waffle House one time, and I ain't skinny, I ain't no health guru.
Mm-hmm.
But like, dude, you ordered like 2 root beers. Mm-hmm. I was just like, hey, what about some water? I wasn't rude about it or anything. So he ended up getting some water. And I was just like, hey, like, you know, I'm concerned about your health. Like, I think it's best that we are, you know, we could just be friends. Like, mind you, I was like driving this dude around at one point. Cause I mean, he can't drive. Like his legs, his legs would give out on him if he was to drive. I was nice about it. Like I had a one-on-one with him. I told him about my eating disorder. And instead of him being understanding, he mocks me.
You?
Okay, when I told him that I didn't want to date him, let's just be friends, because he got rejected, he goes and makes fun of my eating disorder.
Oh no.
So at that point, you make fun of me and I'm trying to be nice to you. So at that point, I got petty.
Oh no, not the petty.
He started talking about like, oh, you wear the same shoes to work. He was just trying to like find things
Yeah, like
wrong.
grasping for straws.
Yeah, I'm trying to be nice to you,
Right.
just being disrespectful because you can't get what you want out of me.
Right.
So like we kept going back and forth, and I guess when he realized, okay, dang, like she really doesn't want me, he went from insulting me to please. I was like, no, dude, like you are not. I'm already a single parent. I cannot raise another man. I cannot take care of a sick guy. I need someone.
Is this like a normal dating experience for you? Like,
I feel like in the past 2 or 3 years, it's like I don't know if it's something about me where I am attracting guys that are like, because it's like I have not been on like a nice, like legit, like thought out date in a long time. It's
yeah.
like I feel like in culture, okay, if I take you out, we got to do something sexual afterwards. Like that's culture here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even gonna lie, I've fallen for it. I'm not gonna sit up here and like sugarcoat like I have it because I'm not a saint. But it's like when you're trying to actively avoid that and you try to like make that clear to guys, you don't really get dates.
Mm.
Or if they can sense that, okay, she ain't about that, they're not gonna give you a date.
Mm.
So like the last time I got flowers from a guy, before the overweight guy that I was telling you about, before him, the last guy that got me flowers, he was married and I didn't know.
The audacity. Wow.
Exactly. Like I said, when I don't see a ring, like I don't know. I have to do my own research, do my own homework.
The audacity of people it's serious.
But they don't care. You know, it's sad. I have to ask men, are you married?
Right.
Are you in a relationship with anybody? Are you seeing anyone? Are you staying with a female? Because if I don't ask, I may be in for a rude awakening because I don't know.
I think it's really,
It's
really
sad.
sad. Yeah, it's sad and ridiculous. And I'm making the disclaimer that I'm not single. I am married. But even when I was, I just remember sometimes I would wonder, what are people doing out here? Like, I try to relate
Culture,
it.
people don't care.
People don't care, but I also think there is a serious epidemic of people not dealing with their trauma and their stuff and their emotional issues that they end up like emotionally vomiting on everyone around them, including on dates. And I've heard everything from people, like you said, not having cars to like asking women to pick them up to like
But somewhere along
escort
the
them
line,
around.
someone is accepting this because me at one point I was driving the guys around. I was the one chasing. And it's like now that I try my best not to chase, I try my best not
To
to
have those
show
boundaries.
too much interest.
Mm-hmm.
It's like now I don't get nothing.
Yeah, because there's seriously something wrong with culture. And that just leads us into what we're going to talk about, right? So, like I said, I didn't know how to be single when I was out here in these streets being single. And I definitely don't know what it's like now with the dating apps and the guys wanted you to drive them around. And I dealt with some of it, but I just know it has to have gotten worse. I wouldn't dare do this particular podcast episode alone because what we're talking about is the 10 myths of being single, like things that either married people or other single people believe in their heart that is true about people who are currently single. And so, yeah, me and Jessica are going to kind of have this conversation. And I want her to kind of take the lead on responding to these myths because I don't know. I know what I think at times, and I know sometimes I could be coerced or pulled into these myths and start to believe them. But I just kind of want to be along for the conversational ride, so to speak. And it's going to be fun. It's probably also going to be a little triggering for some people out there. And I just want to get it out there and maybe like dispel some of these myths and allow Jessica to speak to some of these things as a single person. She's obviously not a representative of all single people, but to have her come in and say, hey, this is why this is not true. I think it's going to be great. So Jessica, one of these myths is your standards are too high. If we're really going to get into it, like people are fake. So like, what do you say
Exactly.
to your standards are too high, you know? What do you say to that?
Standards being too high. I feel like that's subjective because, like, again, my bare minimum is subjective. So
Yeah.
if me requiring a guy to have a car, if me requiring a guy to have a
A
job,
job,
me requiring
Jamie.
a guy to be a provider, like if that is considered my standards being too high, that's sad. That's really
I
sad
agree.
because it's like I am not asking. I've never said out my mouth that I need a guy to make $80,000 a year. I never said out my mouth I need a guy to have a six pack. I can compromise on looks, like that's fine. But because who say, okay, well, should my standards either be too high or should they be too low? Just say I got a boyfriend.
Do you think in general, like people who single are single because their standards are too high? Like,
I don't think that. I think
yeah.
it could be a mixture of things. I think some of it's just being guarded. I think some of it is just maybe some people don't want to be in a relationship. That's not, they're trying to fix themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a mixture of things. But like I said, someone saying your standards are too high, that is subjective.
Yeah.
Like I feel like for me personally, Jessica, I don't think my standards are too high. I
Yeah.
just think I'm not meeting anyone that that's able to meet my standards. Like,
Right. Like I do
because I
agree.
meet them myself. Like I have a job. I don't have a record. I got one child by one guy.
Yeah.
Like the things that I ask of a man are things that I meet myself. I'm not going to ask a guy for anything, at least not intentionally, that I don't already have. The only thing that I'm trying to learn how to do now is when a guy tells me something that I really don't like, I ask the next question so I don't come off as being judgmental.
Yeah.
Let's just say I were to meet a guy with 5 or 6 kids and he does have different moms to those children. Don't get me wrong. It don't look good,
Yeah.
married or not. But let's just say the kids are grown. I may be able to compromise on that because if they're grown and out the house in college, they're not gonna be around their dad like that anyway. Do you get what I'm saying?
I do get what you're saying. I have a question. So
Yes.
what do you feel like are standards that are too high? Like for the single people out there where you're like, maybe you should lower your standards. Like what do you feel are standards that are too high?
I think anything that you don't meet yourself is too high,
Yeah.
to be fair. If I'm riding the bus, I cannot expect the man to have a car.
Right. As a married woman, and like kind of seeing the opposite side of that commitment line, right? From being someone who has no commitment to anyone to being somebody who's committed to one person. I wonder at times for single people what the grace is, because I realized that everything that I was able to do for myself, my husband did not come into our relationship being able to do for himself necessarily. Not to say that he wasn't a provider or he didn't have a job or anything like that, but there were just some things that maybe my life circumstances or my childhood or the people that I've met along the way, the wisdom I was around, allowed me access to that didn't necessarily allow him access to. And I just wonder at times, like, with you saying they should have whatever you should have, and that can be your standard, like, what about those other things? What about the things that your experiences and life and your childhood and your and how you were raised and how that affected what you have? How do you give grace there?
I guess by getting to know the person and understanding why they do the things they do. Because culture, how you were brought up, does make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess knowing, okay, am I able to teach this person something? Because I don't have everything.
Right.
I have some things, and you're right. You do have to give grace. But then there's those things like, okay, like I have to have this. Rather, you were brought up a certain way. Like for instance, if a guy is spoiled by his mom or babied by his mom, he may not feel the need to keep a job all the time. Oh, my parents will take care of it. Like I can't date a guy like that.
Right.
Parents do this, your parents do that. It's like, no, you're grown and keep a job.
Yeah.
Like I can't raise 2 men.
Right.
One I'm legally obligated to raise. And the other one, your mom was supposed to embrace you. But that's just not a guy that I can see myself with. I think it's just knowing, am I willing to help this person get X, Y, and Z?
Right.
And do they already have a blueprint as to what they want to do to get X, Y, and Z? Then there's little hope. But you selling me pipe dreams just to possibly get with me? No.
Right. Okay, so there's another myth as well, kind of leading out of that says you're just not trying hard enough. People who assume that people are single because they're a homebody, or you don't let people set you up. When's the last time you went to an event where there were men and you walked up to one and you introduced yourself and you're just not trying hard enough? Like, what do you say to that one?
That's case by case. I meet guys at gas stations. I meet guys at the grocery store. Like, for me, I don't think that's the situation. I mean, if you do just go from work to home, then yeah, I think that's your situation. But I don't think I need to go on a wild goose chase either just to find a man.
Do you even think it's a myth?
I have mixed feelings about it.
Okay.
Because it's just like I said, I think it just because you go out, that doesn't mean someone's going to talk to you. So then what? Okay, you go out. Well, you need to approach guys. Then you approach the guy. Well, let the guy approach you. Like, it's dang if you do, dang if you don't. Like,
I definitely see the contradiction there.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to break my neck for a guy to notice me. Like,
right.
I've been there, I've done that, and it doesn't work. And if he notices me, it's not for the right reasons.
Right.
Like maybe the initial greeting, hey beautiful. We go from hey beautiful to when can you come over? Like,
right.
So I have mixed feelings about you don't quote unquote try hard enough, because then if you try too hard, now you're chasing, now you're desperate. So it's like you can't win.
Like, you can't win. Yeah, I definitely see that.
People do online dating and they get married.
I mean, that's true.
Like, i.e. yourself, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, no, I get it. Like, I'm not disagreeing with you, like, for sure. I think it is definitely like this double-edged sword of like trying to find that perfect balance and not wanting the judgment of, okay, am I doing too much? Am I not doing enough?
And that's my issue. Like, I try to show interest. I try to be vulnerable with a guy, but I also don't want to come off as if I'm being desperate.
Right.
Like, if you want to take me out on a date, I shouldn't have to keep asking, okay, we're going to go on a date. We're going to do this, this, and this. Because when I stop asking, I want to stop talking to you. We're not going to get anywhere.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3 is you're lonely.
That's case by case basis. For me, I'm not going to sit up here and lie. I do get lonely because I go from work, home, work out, my son, my mom. Like, I go in a circle. Yeah. For the most part. So I mean, I do get lonely. It does get sad. Sometimes you just want to have someone there to, show you affection. Like, that's my major thing. I desire affection.
But do you feel that if you're single, it means you're lonely?
Not necessarily. Not all the time.
Because I think that there are a lot of people, right, who are in a relationship or who are married who are like, oh, my friend's been single for this amount of time, or maybe they're really lonely. Like, let me try to help. Like, let me try to, you know what I mean?
I don't think you should do that unless that person has verbally said, man, I wish I had a boyfriend. Then yeah, but if that person hasn't said anything or done anything to make you question it, I don't think it's your place. So let me try to hook them up with somebody.
Right.
Because they may not want to talk to anybody. They may be, some people are okay being by themselves.
Okay, well, that's another one. Like, another myth that people think about single people is like that you're having the best time of your life. Like, hot girl summer and all that, like hot boy summer. I don't know if that's a thing. Anyway, that you're having the best time of your life and, you don't need it. You don't need the relationship. Like, there are people who, think that about single people. It's like, well, I'm not gonna try to set them up. They're having the best time of their life. Or married people are like, man, being single was like the best time of my life. Sometimes, you get those like little voices in your head that say that at least. And so what do you say to that myth that like to be single is to be having the best time of your life?
That's not necessarily true either.
Hot girl summer isn't all that?
I mean, it can be. Like I said, it's just, I can't say it's a myth. I just think it just depends upon the person. I mean, hot girl summer can be fun, but I was never like a big party person. If it were up to me, I would rather have like game night or maybe brunch or something like that.
Right.
I call it soft girl summer. I don't know, but um,
Not soft girl summer.
because everyone's life is different. Like to me, at times, it's not fun being single. It may be less stressful because I'm not having to consider somebody else,
Right.
but I wouldn't consider it necessarily fun, especially if like you've been single. I don't want to say the majority of my life, I guess since I was, I don't know, 16, 17 years old. Like I never had a long relationship. My longest relationships with a title were like 3 months. So I've never had someone that actually knew how to be a good boyfriend. Not saying that I was a perfect girlfriend, but it's like if every boyfriend that I've had is coming back to me saying, Jessica, I'm sorry, obviously I wasn't the issue. I just don't, I've just never been loved properly.
Mm. Okay, so you said something when you were talking. You said like sometimes your boyfriends or people that you date come back to you and they're like, oh, you're such a good girlfriend, blah 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 blah, whatever, and you're like, well, shows up nothing wrong with me. When that happens, right? And so one of the other myths that I feel like people think why single people are single is because there's something fundamentally wrong with them, right? So it's like you're crazy, left eye, waiting to exhale, burning clothes, keying cars, crazy, or you were or you're unattractive to the people who you want to date, or you're weird. Do you ever feel about yourself like, is there something fundamentally wrong with me? Like, am I crazy? Like, am I?
I mean, yeah, I felt that way about myself for years. And like, I thought, okay, well, if I lose weight, maybe I'll be married by now. If I do this, I'll be married by now. If I do that, and none of those things, it didn't change anything.
Right.
I mean, the only thing that may have changed now is that I get more male attention, but
Attention doesn't necessarily translate into a relationship or love or
yeah, like it's
commitment.
just what about getting to actually know me? So
Right.
I'm not gonna lie, I do have those times where like, okay, is there something wrong with me? Because I mean, you can pray all day, trying to make yourself feel better, but at the end of the day, you're still single.
Yeah.
You wonder, is there something that you need to do or that you need to stop doing?
What would you say to the single people who are, listen to this and they're like, man, I actually think this about myself. Like, is there something fundamentally wrong with me? Like, or should I be scared that there's something fundamentally wrong with the next person that I meet who's been single for a long time? Like, what do you say to that person?
I would do a self-evaluation, and if all of your relationships they broke up with you because of the same reason, then maybe it's something that you need to fix about yourself.
Right.
Like my mom has said, everybody don't tell the same lie.
That's good. One of the myths that I have here is that some people believe that people are single because they're easy or a player. Like you're easy and you're giving away the milk for free, playing house, playing wife, giving everybody something that they don't need to marry you or commit to you in order to get. Or like, the opposite, where you're the one that's playing the people getting everything that you need. And so you don't have to have the commitment. Like, what do you say to that one?
That's a good one. It's a catch-22 because you have some men that will marry a woman, the woman staying with him, they got kids together, so he knows, okay, I'm getting all this now. I know I'll get this when I'm married.
Mm.
But then you got the opposite where it's like, okay, well, why do I need to marry if you're doing all of this now?
Mm.
That's why there's conversations that you have to have.
Okay, Jessica, this is good stuff. This is really good stuff. All right. So I want to know, what you think about this one. That being single means you can't financially support yourself or that you don't have help.
That don't even make sense. Okay, so the myth is because I'm single, I can't support myself.
I hear people saying things like, oh, I can't wait till I get married because I'm just gonna like, I'll be able to do this or do this financially. Oh, I can't wait to get married so I can have some help financially. Or, well, why don't you just wait to do that till you get married and then you'll have help? Like, what do you say to that?
I mean, it's two incomes. This is always better than one.
Two incomes, but two expenses. If you're single, like, what do you say to that? Like,
I
do you
don't,
feel
I
like that's
don't,
true?
I don't, I don't think that's true because you have single lawyers, you have single rich people. They were already good on their own. Like, I just feel like some people they need another person for help. I mean, sometimes I feel that way about myself, but I've never gotten anything repossessed. I've never gotten evicted. Like, it's just been me and God. I can't speak for anyone else, but I just think sometimes people, maybe God sends them because they need help
Right,
financially. My
right.
mom, I mean, she grew up poor,
Mm,
and my father took her in, married her, and she got a better life.
yeah,
Now her house is paid for.
right.
But I can't say that would be the case if she wasn't married.
Mm,
She didn't have someone that made decent money. It's just like I said, it's just a case by case situation. But I think it's imperative to be able to handle your finances while you're single.
right. That's good.
I think it's imperative to have stayed on your own while you're single because it makes you more disciplined.
And I think that's important too. I think that does teach a discipline. I'm not saying that you can't have a roommate or live with someone up until the point that you want to be in a committed relationship, that, you know, there's something wrong with you or that you can't still be a disciplined person. But I agree that I do think that it teaches you a specific type of discipline that sometimes you can't get otherwise.
Exactly.
And
It makes
so,
you sacrifice. It makes you have to think critical. It makes you have to plan. It makes you have to be more organized.
right. Okay, so moving on to number 8. Do you feel like being single means that you have more freedom? You're not tied down, nobody's asking you where you are, what you're doing, your money is not accounted for in a certain type of way. Like, you have more freedom. Like, sometimes people say like, oh, you're single, be happy, you have all this freedom, you have all the freedom in the world. Like, what do you say to that?
Now that I don't think is a myth. I mean, if you're single, you don't have to report to anybody. It's just you. It's your money. Spend it on yourself. So
Right.
yes, I think that's true. I really can't say much more about that.
Dope. Okay, this one's a little bit triggering for me. Because I actually had a couple of different people tell me this when I was single, and even though I am fully married, it still bothers me because it wasn't my truth. Um, and I just think it's really, really disrespectful if somebody doesn't say this for themselves to say it to someone else. And that is that your sexual orientation must not be what you say it is because you're single. And I kid you not, I've had people say, oh, you're a lesbian, you just need to admit it. Why are you not admitting that you're gay? Like, have us the
Wow.
opposite. And so have you ever been questioned about your sexuality because of your relationship status? Like what is that? Like,
Uh, I know like when I was younger, one of my relatives thought that I didn't like boys. I guess because of how I acted, I guess I was just so shy. And then I had another relative, like when I got pregnant, he was happy.
what?
Yeah, so like they were just happy, that, oh God, I thought you was gonna end up gay.
Oh no. No,
Your
no, no,
sexual
no.
orientation has anything to do with you being in a relationship.
Right. That is, first of all, I'm sorry that that happened to you. And that is ignorant and ridiculous. But yeah, like it really, like, why can't I be what I say that I am orientation wise and just be single without somebody questioning
Because
that?
it's stupid because there's gay single people.
Right.
So
It is so dumb. And I just don't understand this. But I also had friends who say this happened to them as well. So it's definitely not a situation unique to me. And I was so concerned and don't understand. Like, what is that? But yeah, that's crazy.
Wow.
Okay. Last one is hey, you're single because you're scared of commitment. Like
That's a misconception. I don't agree with that at all.
like there's some type of fear that you don't want to settle down, your parents divorced, so you're scared of divorce, you have past hurt, heavily guarded.
Yeah, heavily guarded. Yeah, I am she.
But you think it's a myth, generally.
I think overall it's a myth because some people are single because they don't just want anybody. Like,
Yeah, that's good.
like I've never had an issue with commitment. Like, never cheated. That was never something that I struggled with. Hurting your feelings and not meaning to hurt your feelings, yes, but just cheating, like, I don't know why it's so hard to not cheat on people.
Mm. So you don't think that people are single because they're scared of settling down?
People are single for different reasons. But to just generalize, oh, you're single because you're scared of commitment. No. I would love to be committed to somebody. My question is, are they going to commit to me?
Come on, somebody. And that's real. And I do get that. I do think that there are people who struggle with commitment, but I don't think that everyone and all single people struggle with commitment. Because like you said, you want to be with somebody, and some people are ready to settle down, and some people have been working on themselves and getting therapy and working through their traumas and all of that type of stuff. And they still haven't met that person yet. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. I feel like people that are working on themselves constantly, I feel like the opposite sex may think that they're out their league.
You know what? That happened to me a lot, where instead of spending the time dating and getting to know people, I had a very specific thing that I wanted. Like, I was like, okay, earlier in the conversation, you said, you can't have a standard that you don't yourself meet. And so I think I spent a lot of time, working on myself, getting therapy, studying books, trying to learn about what commitment was, because I didn't grow up with a 2-parent home. And so, the only thing I ever seen firsthand was divorce. And so, I did a lot working on myself. And then when it got down to like me being like, okay, I think I'm ready to go out and start dating, it was the issue. The issue was that there were a lot of people who were intimidated by the fact that I had done so much work on myself. And
Yes,
so
that's what I'm getting
they
at.
didn't want to be with me. Yeah.
And it's sad because it's like, dang, like, you're punished for when you're trying to work on yourself.
Right.
Because people will tell you, oh, just work on yourself and the right person to come. Okay, I did that, or I'm doing that now. And now people are intimidated to talk to me. Like, there was this guy, he was like, we were just talking. He was a bigger dude. And I told him that I used to model for a friend of mine. He was just like, I was telling him my weight loss journey and blah 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 blah. And he was like, man, you're gonna get skinny and become this model, and you're not even gonna be studying me anymore. And I was like, dude, I modeled when I was heavier. It's not like that.
Right.
Because if you feel that insecure, then maybe you should work on your health as well. Like,
right.
So I should not be punished or looked over because I am trying to better myself.
I think there are a lot of people out here who want to be committed, who want to be in a relationship, who do not want to work on themselves, who do not want to do the work outside of a relationship. They want to use a relationship in order to refine themselves, which I do think that is okay. Because I think that's kind of what relationships are about, right? Rubbing up against each other, creating that friction, and both coming out better in the end. But I think that you can't use a relationship to force you to change or to refine in a way that you should have done and as a single person. And I think there are a lot of people
you end up using somebody,
right,
whether you realize it or not. Because you
right,
come up, what happens is, okay, you get with somebody that's working on themselves, doing everything they can, and then you got the other person that's really not doing much for themselves, kind of just there, leeching off the other person, And then what may or may not happen is they get what they need from you and they get who they want to be with. And that's
Right.
what scares me, because I know, like you were telling me, with Jessica, just try to get to know people, don't be so guarded. But I'm just like, I've been working so hard, like on myself, and I feel like it's scary to take that risk. I need to know what you are doing on your own. I need receipts.
And I think that's real. So this is the part of the show where I ask you guys how you feel. How you feel? What do you feel like is a misconception about being single? Which one of these got under your skin? Which one of these triggered you? Okay. And I want you to reach out to the podcast and let us know. Comment on the website. When you leave your review, give me your answer. We talked about drowning. We talked about dating stories. We talked about the myths of being single. And now it's your turn. Make sure you check out the podcast episode page at www.unleashthaneesh.com. That's unleash, THA, the niche, NEESH.com to comment. You can also, of course, send me an email at laugh@unleashthaneesh. That's unleash, THA, niche.com. And like always, join the Patreon. What's taking you so long? Be a part of the niche gang. Like I said, the new season of Married at First Sight is coming out, and I am going to do a review that only the Patreon gets. So if you want to hear the review, if you want to hear these people's perspectives, you want to join the niche gang. If you want extra content, vlogs, relationship content, interviews, all going to be on the niche gang, all going to be on my Patreon. Check it out, please. And Jessica,
That part.
thanks for being on the show, girl.
Oh, you're more than welcome. This was really fun.
Oh, good. I'm excited. And I know everybody's going to be excited to hear what you have to say. And again, we want to hear what you guys have to say on these myths. Like, do you believe they're myths? Do you think some of them are true? Let me know. Okay. I think that's it. And maybe we can impact the world or something. I'll leave you with that. Bye.
Bye.